Okay.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I'll let you lead it since you kind of have something fresh in your mind that you want to talk about.
Okay. It's not really like a fully formed thought, but I figured if I brought it up, like maybe we could just like, you know, start talking about it. I wanted to talk about loss and maybe death. Like I don't know if that's too morbid, but I'm experiencing some stuff this week that's making me think about these things. And
Yeah.
and I kind of want to talk about it. I kind of want to get some insight. If I'm being honest, like I've never experienced death of anyone close to me. And I used to, I think loss and death are the same thing, or at least I used to, until my therapist told me otherwise, which will elaborate on later. So I kind of want to talk about that and like get some insight and just kind of like get comfortable talking about this sort of thing because I know it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what's been happening that it's coming up, if you want to share.
So I don't know why I'm smiling because I'm not happy about it, but
it's a nervous smile.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For people who think I have my shit together, like this is me not having my shit together. My grandfather is very sick. He's in the hospital currently. And they're asking and they're asking questions about like DNR, and like we're looking at stuff like changing the title of the house, and like it's just getting like really real. And my grandmother had a pretty bad fall yesterday. She's been really stressed out since my grandfather hasn't been home. She hasn't been eating. She can't sleep. And she fell like right on her back. And like she has like a bump on her head and like is bruised up and stuff. So like it's just been really rough. And like,
yeah,
just to watch, and like to hear things and like to prepare. And like I'm definitely going through the motions, right? Because I want to be there for my family and just play my part. But yeah, like I just it's hard not to look ahead to next steps in preparation as a person who likes to plan. It's just something that I'm doing, and like with getting these affairs in order, like it's just part of the process, and it kind of takes the emotion out of it. So I don't know. I know I'm kind of just babbling on, but like this is just what's in my head right now.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think it's like a good time to address it. Not that there ever really is a good time, but like with COVID and everything, I'm sure a lot of people have this impending topic in mind anyway.
For sure.
Is anyone else like feeling the same way as you in the family, or is everyone just like got to get things done? And
well, I know my mom is like really involved. So I know that she's feeling it, like it's impacting her the most because like she's had to miss work and stuff like that. And like obviously like I'm there to support my mom too. And like because my grandfather has like early dementia, she's with him as much as possible. But yeah, so I don't doubt that people in my family, at least my uncles and aunts, specifically my uncles, are feeling the same way, and my mom. And I know my sister, and I know my sister's feeling similar to me, but she's not, like, she has her son, and like I know she's just like focused on that. And like she's not as involved in the process, but yeah, I don't know. I think everyone, because they're like, how do I say this? Like my uncles are like older. I don't know. Like I just feel like they don't feel the same way I do because we just look at things differently. Like they're from the Philippines, and like they probably have had to do this before with like other people, or like have experienced this differently. Like, and I'm this spoiled millennial that I feel like is really emotional. I don't know. Like that's just how I'm looking at it. Like,
no, for sure there's a generational gap in expressing emotion, or like handling it. I don't know if handling is the right word, but there's definitely like a difference in I know what you mean, in like reacting to it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to do more? Like, are you processing it? Like, are you allowing yourself to feel the emotions? Because if I learned anything
Yes.
in therapy, it's that the most important part is allowing yourself to feel it.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you asked that. I definitely am. So I just make sure that I'm giving myself space. And because like I follow
Yeah.
like a pretty like I have a schedule every day, so it's easy for me to like, you know, like for example, like I know we were supposed to meet at a certain time today, but I'm like I could really use that 15 minutes. So like I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to like ask for that. And like because I know like our dynamic, obviously it's not like so hard. I'm like, I think 15 minutes is fine for me. Or like if I'll
Yeah.
wake up in the morning and like sit outside, like I have routines in place because something similar like this happened last year. I put routines in place to protect my mental health and my
Yeah.
emotional
That's
health.
good.
So I've been able to rely on those moments for sure.
Yeah.
And like making sure that my nutrition is up. Like during times like this, I know it's really easy for people to like slip into bad habits out of convenience, but like I have a gourmet meal service that
Mhm.
supplies all my meals. So I don't even have to think about it. I just warm it up and I eat, not healthy by like just by default. And I
Yeah.
have my trainer first thing in the morning. So like there's just like systems in place to support me mentally and emotionally. Um, and to take the time to feel my stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's good. I mean, it sounds
yeah.
like you have like all the resources that one would need to process through like what's going on. It's not
Yeah.
easy. And I don't
No.
think it makes it any easier, you know?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because the
Are you
Zoom
frozen?
froze.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me
Yeah.
or can you hear me?
I was like,
Okay.
wait, are you frozen? um, yeah. There might be a little lag though, but
It's okay.
no, I was just saying it's good at least you have like resources in place for like if you're like yeah, you have like resources in place for if you're needing something and you're taking care of
Yeah.
yourself. So that's pretty much
Yeah,
like the only thing that you can do
for
in this
sure.
time of uncertainty.
For
But
sure.
yeah, like having to do that. It's like the steps of like I think it's paperwork. That's the like, oh, things are getting real part. That's the worst, I think. Or
Yeah.
like having to talk about like medical steps, like yeah.
Yeah. And I would
Yeah.
say like the hardest part for me is because I think you were around, I think we knew each other around this time, but like when my father had a stroke last year, I was working out of the hospital. Like I plug and
Yeah.
play, you know what I mean? Like I had my laptop, I was doing all my meetings there. Like,
Right.
you know, everything I did was from the hospital. With COVID, I can't even visit my grandfather like I have to follow their strict visitation rules. So they have 2-hour windows three
Right.
times a day. So I'm going to visit him tonight, but like I want to stay there. He was there alone last night and I'm just like, "Oh my god, that's never happened." He's always my mom or my cousin or myself like will stay there or like rotate, you know, but he's
Yeah.
alone. And for someone with dementia, oh, like it's just
Yeah.
so sad. Like like my uncle and cousins called him last night and he was just like not okay. He
Yeah.
was not okay
Yeah.
emotionally.
Was he like where
He was like, "I'm
yeah.
dying." That's what he said. He's like, "I'm dying." And like I think what he means is like he's dying of loneliness, but like I'm sure he feels like he's dying
Oh.
because like my grandmother and grandfather spend every moment together on the couch in bed. Like, you know, they have a very simple life as old people.
Yeah.
So like when my mom shared that with me, I was like, "Kill me now." Like just kill me now. Like this is
Yeah.
terrible. It's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be like a hot mess when you know when because my sister and I like it's weird, but she and I have always said, even when we were younger, we're the morbid kids, but we were like, if grandma and grandpa ever passes, we're gonna die. But
Yeah.
we've always said that. And then when it actually happened, it shook our world. Like that changed everything for me. Like in so many ways, like in sadness, yes, but also like it shook me out of my everyday existence to the point where I was like questioning life. Like, what is it that I'm doing? What is the purpose of life? But also like appreciating where I come from, which I've never had, just because I didn't really make the connection. I'm sorry, I'm making you cry.
No. Good. This is great.
And we've like talked about it before, like just appreciating the moments that you have, but I definitely have way more appreciation after the fact, because and there was a part of me that like kind of regret the fact that I didn't appreciate them when they were there, but at the same time I didn't have like the spiritual or emotional capacity to appreciate them when they were here with me, you know? And it's not like we would have done anything different. Like we're not, our relationship wasn't like super bondy. It was like they're sitting there, I'm sitting here. We're doing our own thing, but like we're in the
Exactly.
same room.
But
And
you're
that was
together.
like our bond. Exactly. So it's not like if they were here, anything would be different or I would have said anything different. So the appreciation for me like came after, and it's weird, but I feel more connected to them now than I did before. And I think that's like the woo woo part of me that's like, because their spirit lives on, because I truly believe that it does, you know? So yeah, their passing has like rocked my world in so many ways of like spiritualness and like reassessing what my life is about, reassessing my values, my morals, who I want to spend it with, like what I want to do with my time. So like when I say that like my world changed, that's kind of like how it changed, like in so many ways. Not sure how we got on that tangent, but
No, it
yeah.
makes sense. It makes sense. It's interesting because like part of the reason why I started crying is because like that's what it's so comforting to hear that in a weird way, because like I always feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah. And that
And
doesn't, yeah.
you know, so to hear you say like, oh, like it's not like anything would have been different, I just have more appreciation, like that means a lot, because I'm sitting here like, should I be talking to them more? Like, do they even want to talk? Like, I just want them to live the life that they want to live right now, like however they
Right.
want to be. Like, I'm sure, like, I know they want to be left alone to watch their shows. They have a routine, like they're good. And
Yeah.
they don't want anything disrupting that. Like, you know, so like, I know my logical, rational mind knows that, but the emotional side
Right.
of me is like, you're not doing enough. Like, you need to spend more time with them. Like, you know,
Yeah.
and just do more, whatever that means, like just do more. So that's kind of a little bit of a stressor. And then the other piece is like, you know, what you're saying about like being close, feeling closer to them. I
Yeah.
feel like because they would tell me, particularly my grandmother at a very young age, your health is your wealth. That was her thing. Okay, so it's ironic that like now I'm seeing why she's telling me that,
Yeah.
because I know that there's I don't want to say I know,
My
but like I don't.
mother-in-law.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
All good. It's
Just
good.
gotta introduce you to the audience.
That's good. That's good.
Sorry, but go ahead.
That's okay.
Health is wealth.
Yes, health is wealth, and it's just like, you know, they're not in the greatest health. They have
Yeah.
diabetes. It's affecting them. Their bodies are breaking down. I'm watching it happen. It's terrifying, and like
Yeah.
because of that, like and like fully understanding why she was saying that and how she managed to put it into 3 words, like my life is changing already. Like I'm not trying to learn the lesson when they're gone. Like I'm sure there's going to be more that I'm going to learn, but like I'm putting that in place now. Like, you know, I kind of like just woke up one day, and I've always had this thought in the back of my head, but it's just like, you know, there's a certain life that I want to live. So like in order
Yeah.
for me to live that life, certain things have to change. And the biggest things were like nutrition and like activity,
Yeah.
just to like distill it down to basics, which fall into the category of health and wealth. So that's, and you know, it's helping me because during this time, like I don't have space to think about my nutrition. I don't
Right.
have space to think about going and making time for the gym. Like those things are already in place for a reason. you know, and I'm so grateful that they are, because I wouldn't be able to survive otherwise.
Right.
There's just no
Yeah.
way. I'm one of those people who throw themselves into work. So
Yeah.
we all know how that would turn out. Like, just not good. So
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing that you have those processes set up just to like optimize the parts that would be so distracting anyway, so that you can focus. And I mean, it's kind of like you said, making space, because that's so important to just like process the stuff that's going through, because like you admitted that you throw yourself into work, and that can just totally distract you from like feeling the ick.
yeah. And I've done that
Which,
before. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not,
it
it's
makes
not
it
good.
worse.
Yeah. And your
No.
work suffers. Your work will suffer. Your work.
Yeah.
So then with my work suffering and my health, like, you know, and my mental, like, no, like, hell no. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Going back to what you were saying about, shoot, what was it that I was like, oh, that's a really good point. Allowing yourself to process it. Oh, that guilt that you feel about like, I'm not doing enough. That thing is so real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad that you brought it up, because like people don't notice it. Like that guilt that's saying that you should be doing more. It's the same voice that's like, that screams at you if you're taking like a 15-minute break and it's like, you should be doing something. It's the same, it's guilt, like the guilt voice. And yeah, I'm glad that you pointed it out, that it comes up during these times too, because it is the worst, because it makes you feel like you're like not up to a certain level, or you haven't done enough or whatever. And then guilt leads into regret, and then
And shame. Yeah.
and shame. Yeah. And then it's a whole spiral of
It's bad.
stuff you shouldn't be. Yeah. So it's good that you're like nipping it in the bud, or at least recognizing that you feel that.
Yeah, that's half the battle, like kind of calling it out, because like it's, yeah, that conversation that happens in my head, like it's terrible. And like, just to clarify, like, you know, I'm talking about the self-induced guilt. Like, there's literally no one in my family or otherwise telling me that I'm doing something wrong or that I need to do more or whatever. Like, again, logically, I know that I'm doing everything that I possibly can, physically, emotionally, like, you know.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, there's just that shame voice. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it comes from like a certain place in your brain that like processes trauma or something, but like it's just, yeah, it's just there, adding to the stress, like, you know. So it's almost like self-induced stress, because on top of everything that's going on, you're sitting here telling yourself that you ain't shit, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you're not doing anything, you're not doing enough. So it's bizarre. It's just bizarre.
I do wonder where it comes from.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know.
Sadness,
If you know,
I think.
yeah, maybe.
Because like I wonder if that part doesn't want to feel the sadness, so it wants you to do something so that it will distract your brain from feeling sadness, when in reality you just got to feel the sadness.
I feel like you just hit like, okay, because I know that we talked about fight or flight before, like not in an episode, but just like in life. And like defense mechanisms, we don't always see them. Like fight or flight people usually apply to physical threats, but they don't necessarily apply to mental threats, but the same concept does in fact apply. And I think you're right. I think maybe that is like a fight or flight response in some way. And your body's like, let's protect you from feeling the feelings and take some action to do what? We don't know, but let's get distracted and, you know,
100%.
not feel the feels. Like that's so crazy that you said that. Yeah, no, I definitely think that that's a thing for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And in all of the stuff that like I've read and stuff, it says like, your body will keep you from feeling the emotions, when in reality, that's what you need to do to process it through. Oh yeah. And in therapy. Therapy says this too. So like, it's true. Yeah. So like, I totally believe that's just our brain distracting ourselves from not feeling it when we have to, and it's going to feel like crap, but that's the only way to like process it through.
Oh my God. It's so annoying. It's just
Yeah.
interesting like how everything's playing out, because like last year, again, similar things happened, and like I just feel like I'm very much like a silver lining person. Sometimes I'm a little too positive, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or I've been told, I don't know. And I feel like everything that happened last year, like I knew it was preparing me for something, but I didn't know what. And I feel like with things happening, everything that happened this year, everything, COVID, the Black Lives Matter, everything that happened this year, like
It was like the
it's,
test.
yeah, like it's like, okay, you learned a lot of shit last year. Let's apply it.
Yep.
Let's apply it. So,
Wait, speaking of last year, wasn't your grandfather in the car accident too?
yep, he sure was.
Yeah.
He sure was.
That's
And
why
then
this time when you were like, he's in the hospital, I'm like,
it's
again? Like,
almost a year. It's almost a
y-
year, because you were here
yeah.
in October when it happened, and it's September, so it's almost a year. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I mean, your entire family has gone through something since last year,
Yeah,
since last
yeah.
October. Your mom, your grandpa,
Since
your
before
grandma.
that, because my grandfather had a stroke in April, and then my dad, unbeknownst to me, because we weren't talking at the time, or sorry,
Uh-huh.
he didn't tell me, around the same time
Right.
had a stroke. Then he had another stroke,
Oh gosh.
and then my grandfather got into the car accident,
You
and
are
then
being tested.
yeah, and then like I forget what. Oh, and then my cousin, my youngest cousin, cancer. Had to go through chemo. Okay, and this is all like my mom's side. Like, just to clarify, like I grew up with like that side. So with the exception of my dad, like everything else is happening on my mom's side. So that,
Yeah.
and then also my uncle had a kidney failure issue and diabetic issue.
Super.
And then what else? I don't even know what else. The birth of my nephew, which was a good thing, but like, you know, it's a stressful time for
It's
someone to be
gotta,
pregnant.
right. Yeah.
And there was some
During
drama
this
there.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just like it was a lot. I know there was more that happened, but just within my family dynamic, that yeah, it's been since the beginning of last year. So I feel like I'm just
Jeez.
being tested and prepared for something, like something great, good and bad, because they don't exist without the other. I'm learning more than
Mm-hmm.
ever. Um, so I understand that there's going to be some sacrifice on my end, and all this, and some greatness too. So I'm going to be somewhere in the middle, balancing both emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the works. Like, you are feeling the
Yeah.
works, you're going through the works. Like, that's a lot. I mean,
But I
that's a
have
lot
to
on your
be, it is, but I have to be grateful for it. I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's kind of like the conversations that you and I have around COVID. It's just like, I have to be grateful for these moments, because I know like there's a reason. I'm not, and maybe I know you're talking about being woo woo. I don't know if it's being woo woo or if this is just like life experience that makes people wise or what, but like I just
Yeah.
know that I'm not going through this for no reason. I know that, you know, I
Yeah.
just don't know why yet. And like if I'm comparing my life to last year, my life last year, it's very clear to me why I went through what I went through. Everything with work,
Mm-hmm.
with my family, everything. It's super clear, because I'm like, my life is radically different.
Right.
And I can only imagine what it's going to look like this time next year when we have the same conversation.
Right.
I,
I mean,
I,
the nice part is you're able to make that connection so clearly, like just within a year, you know? Because I feel like people can go through a lifetime of going through those things and still not make the connection of like the lessons that they need to learn or what the purpose of that hellish period was for, you know? So it's nice that you're able to see, well, it's nice that you were like conscious enough in the moment to know I'm going through this and this is what it looks like. And then later on be like, oh, I felt that and I saw that and I went through that because it prepared me for this. So like, if anything, kudos on being really conscious.
Thank you. That's a good
I mean,
word.
it doesn't lessen anything, but
no, but it's, thank you. I appreciate that. But that's a good word to use because like, I do feel like after you said that, like I started thinking like, okay, like I do feel like there's people out there that, you know, not that there's anything wrong per se with this mentality, but like people who are like, woe is me, like everything's happening to me and it's terrible. Like, I feel like it's because they don't have systems in place that allow them to go through the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that effect, which is their consciousness. So you're not conscious of what's happening. You're not paying attention to what this is teaching you or what's like what's going on. Like you just know what's happening in front of you, like right here, because it's really intense, you know, like that's a natural reaction. It's really intense, but like how many people are actually taking a step away, just one step or half a step, you know, whatever step you can muster, just to look at the bigger picture, because there's more than one thing happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of it you can see, most of it you can't because it's coming later, but like most of it you can see. So it's like, what are those things that are happening? Why are they happening? And like, you don't have to answer that question because it's not really yours to answer, but like asking the question makes a big difference. Why is this happening? You know, because then it allows you to get curious and kind of explore things little by little. Your mind starts to open up when you start asking these questions. Why is this happening to me? Well, let's see. Did I ask the universe for anything lately? Did I ask it to make me stronger? Did I ask it to make me more patient? Did I ask to have a different type of lifestyle that maybe if I were to execute right now, I wouldn't be prepared for because I don't have the skills required to, you know, live out that lifestyle? Like what is it? There's always something. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to get all like, but there's always something.
That's like 100%. Like I was the woe is me person, and I was for like years, and I just got to a point where I was like, really, like, why is this happening to me? And after I decided to like really figure out why, that was the action that I took to, like you said, take half a step back and just look at things to see like, what is it that I asked for? And that's exactly what happened. Like I might have asked something of the universe that I thought would be great, but in order for me to get that, I have to learn to do this. Exactly. And a good example is like, I mean, no, I guess it's not I don't know if this is like an example, but like, oh, I don't even know like how to put it into words, but I feel like I feel like I've always had jobs with customer service where I have to like talk to someone and they're always yelling at me and I would get flustered, and like I just thought it was not a good personality trait for me to take those jobs, but they kept landing on my lap. And it's not like I went for it. I would get into a job and then they would spring it on me and be like, you're on customer service, you have to pick up these calls where like people call in to complain about things. And I just couldn't understand, like, why is this happening to me? I don't even sign up for this. And still, I'm not 100% sure why that happened, but I've realized through therapy that like I kept having those tests continuously come up because I needed to like learn how to deal with people who may not be happy with the message that I'm giving them, and not flip out every single time and have that ruin my day. So it was a test for me. It was a trigger for me because I needed to learn how to be like in the present moment and not be shaken by some external force. That's like the lesson I took from it. But like going back to what you said, it's like so true. It is there's a very thin line between woe is me, and okay, let me figure out like why this is happening. And then that really does lead you to curiosity and everything else that just opens up doors that you would not have thought were there if you just sat in your woe is me box. And I know because like I was there very recently, you know, like this wasn't like 10 years ago. This was like, you know, a year ago.
Yeah.
So like what you said, like those are some golden nuggets there. Like that makes that I was like, yes, that is me. You are talking about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for
crazy.
sharing that. That is crazy. You made me think, okay. So there's two things. The first thing is I feel like when you start to ask those questions of the universe, like, why is this happening to me? You'll
Yeah.
start to notice like I don't want to call them coincidences, but I think this is what people call coincidences, which I don't believe in, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Like you'll start to notice those things, like this is happening because this, or because I asked
Yeah.
for this, or because it's preparing me for this, or whatever. Like you'll start to notice those things, and you'll start to, not that it necessarily makes the process easier, but you'll understand why you're doing it, which does help in some way. And then the other thing is I feel like a lot of the times we fall into the same lesson. So like when you talked about the customer service thing happening over and over and over again, it's because you were ignoring the message
Yeah.
until you were ready to receive the message.
Right.
And now you're not in a customer facing role. Like, you know.
I actually still am.
Oh, are
Yeah,
you?
it is very much still a and that's what I'm saying. It comes in so many different forms. It's
Right.
not customer service, but I am still calling people to deliver
Right.
some message that they may, but like I can, and
Interesting.
I just realized that there's something I guess I still need to learn, or this is practice for something, because I still am. I'm still being tested.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only difference is before it, like, I was burnt out doing that, you know, like calling people, like essentially cold. No, it wasn't cold calling, but like calling people and just having them yell at you because I was in like banking and they just want their money. Um,
Oh, God.
and that would like burn you out, you know, being yelled at on the phone every single day. Um, and now it's definitely to a lesser degree, way less people yelling. Not many at all, but still, like, it still feels like customer service when you're on the phone asking someone for something. And it's just, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like all jobs just have a layer of this customer service in it,
They
or
definitely do. Yeah. It's
maybe it
either
is
in
just
person or
me.
on the phone. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like, I don't know, like obviously everyone's lesson is theirs to learn, and they'll get a different message from whatever's happening. Like you and I could go through the same thing and just take out different lessons from it, right? But I think maybe it has to do with your entrepreneurial journey, because we know that it's brought you to your love of baking bread.
Right.
So I'm curious to see where else it's taking you.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I haven't fully made the connections, but I
Yeah.
also think it's because when I've been searching for connections like at every corner, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that was counterproductive. So now
Right.
I need to just again take a step back and just let stuff happen, and if the
Right, right,
connection is
right.
obvious, it's obvious, but if it's
Right.
not, it'll come. And so like really I'm still in the midst of everything and
Yeah, yeah,
learning these lessons. But yeah, I don't 100% sure. I don't 100% know why. Um, but there, like, I have enough faith in the universe now to be like, okay, no, this is going somewhere. I know this
right.
is not in vain.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have my theories for you, but I'll save them for a personal call. Yeah, I know and it's interesting because you said it's at a lesser degree, like things are just changing. So like, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that it's for something. It's for something. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what our timing's like. So I'm just going to say this, like, obviously everyone's going through something,
Mm-hmm.
some and please don't compare your experience to someone else's, because the universe is giving you what you can handle right now. Okay. So like whether that's a death or an ill family member, or like, you know, your car being repossessed or something, I don't know, or even like just something small, like not small, but like something different, like a customer yelling at you or whatever. Like, just don't compare your experience to someone else's, because that's what that's what you're able to handle right now. That is what you're able to handle right now.
Right.
And
everyone's threshold for handling stuff is different.
Yeah. So just leave it alone. And just ask why. Ask the universe why, because the universe has a weird way of answering your questions. And you know what, if you believe in God, like ask God why, because to me they're the same thing. But I know to some people it's not. So ask the universe, ask God, ask whoever you speak to out there why this is happening, and they'll tell you. As someone who has received those answers, they will tell you. You just gotta ask. So, you know, keep an open mind, please. Be patient with yourself. Like, I don't know.
It really is as simple as being like, as soon as you open that line of communication and as soon as you ask, it's going to come. And because you're going to be on the lookout now, like it was always there. You're just more willing on your end to open your eyes. And it's like you said, like, and that's why people say, be careful what you wish for, because it happens. You just may not expect it this way.
Thank you for saying
happens.
that. I've been saying that to myself. Last week, I was like, Camille, like, you're having a moment. You're having a be careful what you wish for moment. Like, yes, I'm so happy you said that, because it's true. Like, you ask and you better be specific. You better know what you're asking for, because you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
Yes.
You're going to get it.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of want to share a story, but I'm not going to. I'll save it. But like, you will get it. I'm telling you.
I'll share mine real quick one.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you know how when we were younger and they had like Hollywood true story about like this celebrity that is like huge and now famous, but they used to wait tables, janitor, and all these crazy different like jobs that eventually led them to this. I used to be like, man, that is so cool to have just a string of random jobs and then have that one moment lead you to whatever they're doing now and they love it. And for some reason, that thought sticks in my head, because I remember having that thought when I was younger. And now that I look back, not that I'm at any destination career-wise, but now that I look back, I've had a string of the most random jobs that I'm never going to return to, that have nothing to do with what I'm going to be doing in the future. And it's because when I was younger, I thought it would be cool to have a string of random jobs and then finally land at something that was, you know, your dream job, whatever, your dream career. And I truly believe that is why this was my past. And that was my be careful what you wish for, because once upon a time you asked for randomness and
you got it. And you really asked for it. Like, you asked for it. Like, you have to, like, yeah. Okay, I'll just share mine too then.
Yeah, do yours.
So last year, we talked about this last episode. Like, I quit my job, not really like with any real plan, just with the plan of focusing on my personal brands. And so last plug. Right? Shameless.
Harbourfront.
Right? So I did, I quit my job and I relied heavily on my savings for last year. Okay. So no income. Didn't really get any money. Last year and this year more so. Okay. Particularly like, let's say 3 months ago. And you know this about me. I like to write notes to myself of like random ideas that I have or like random plans that I have. And then I'll go back and look at those notes And a lot of those times, those notes have come true. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's really, it's weird, but not really because of what we're talking about today.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
3 months ago, I did something similar. I started planning financially. I like to financially plan for the year. Like I said, I like to plan. And I wrote down a number. I'm like, you know what, Camille? Let's dream big. This is the number that you want. So this is the number that you're going to get. Like, let's just put it out there. If you don't hit it, whatever, but like reach for the stars.
Yeah.
I put a number out there. It's still a modest number. I have a new goal, but like I just recently acquired that number.
Yeah.
And that was pretty
That's
sick.
Crazy.
And I was like, but the be careful but what you wish for moment is, I was like, I want to get that number by doing these things particularly.
Yeah.
And I no longer enjoy doing these particular things. So there's the catch, right? Because it's like, okay, well, I thought it would be cool to do XYZ, and like, this is how I'm going to do it. This is me planning. Okay. But yeah, I don't like doing X, Y, Z anymore. I don't mind X, and Y is pretty good, but like Z, I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So it's forcing me to revisit that plan because I still want the money.
Yeah.
But like, it forced me to revisit that plan. And actually, you know what? This is a really good teaching moment that you're seeing right now, for myself, because the plan was the initial true plan, like detailed plan, was to delegate to someone. And I think I'm just being selfish and not delegating. There we go. That's why I'm having a hard time with this. So there you go. Never mind. That was my be careful what you wish for moment. I'm supposed to be, I don't like doing certain things to get the money that I want. I got the money, which is great. I no longer enjoy doing these things, but the real plan was to delegate, and I haven't been. So
right. Light bulb moment.
Yep. There we go. We got a 2-in-1 there. You got my be careful what you wish for moment and my light bulb moment.
Yep.
That's great. I'm excited.
It's cool because like, it's like happening. Yeah. Like you guys are witnessing this happening to us.
It's real life.
In real time.
Like, I don't know. Like this is actually happening. Yeah. Like this is just a regular conversation that I otherwise would be having with Irene or with my notebook. You know what I mean? Like it's just... So yeah, I got to learn to let go. And it's funny. Oh, this is another funny coincidence. I just had a conversation earlier with someone about not delegating stuff. So how hypocritical of me to not delegate.
Look at all these dots connecting. Like I see that in
you know
your
what
head,
I mean? Like it's just a thing. But this is what happens. The more you talk to the universe, the more clarity you'll receive around the things that are happening for you. Like I said, I know that I'm going through a really rough patch right now. You probably can't tell, you know, I'm really good at hiding my emotions. But I know it's not for no reason, or as Irene put it so eloquently, it's not out of vain. Like these are happening for a reason. I don't want to use the word groomed. I actually really don't like that word, but I'm prepared. I'm being prepared for something that I'm not ready for right now, this moment.
Right.
But I will be. Like, you want to be great. It's like one of those things, like athletes, they want to be great, but like how much physical and emotional training do they have to endure to be great? You know, it's very similar. We're just not athletes. We're a different type. We're whatever we are. However you identify, that's what you are. You're being put through the necessary conditioning and training to become what you're destined to be.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Should we transition out now?
Yeah, maybe we should do that. It's been a long talk, and yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like it's a lot of woo-woo for one day. So
yeah. Yeah, like so there was a lot to unpack. So you guys might want to listen to this a couple of times.
Yeah.
But subscribe if you like what you're hearing, because that is key for us. Like and subscribe and share this with other people.
And let us know, like in the comments, like what do you have a be careful what you wish for moment? What are the coincidences that you're starting to see in your own life? What are you having a really hard time accepting in your life right now? or what's a problem that keeps recurring that you just don't understand, you know, is why it's happening to you, or whatever. Like, just, we want to have that dialogue. We want to continue this conversation with you in the comments. So please share your thoughts, whatever you're willing to share. No judgment, judgment-free zone.
Yep. We'll see you next time.
Bye.